If you have recently gotten yourself one of these fancy schmancy Ethernet shields for your Arduino project, and you decided to go for the cheaper option, chances are you might be experiencing a little bit of an issue trying to get any sort of a sketch to run, any sort of a project to actually, well, execute. And chances are the solution to this problem is, in fact, what you might be looking in this video. So let's go ahead and take a look at how to fix your seemingly broken Ethernet shield for the Arduino. Hello everybody and welcome back to Nomad's Tech Journal. This is going to be a very lo-fi, very hands-on video. I'm assuming you're here because you might have purchased yourself an Arduino Ethernet shield. You probably have purchased it from a place like AliExpress or say maybe Amazon from some overseas stores, or maybe even eBay. So chances are you have just discovered that this Chinese replica, this open source third-party rendition of this shield is not really working. And it's not working because there is a single faulty component that is on the shield that is preventing it from operating properly. Now, I found the answer to this after some extensive Googling when a lot of people post errors on the forum, on Arduino forum. There's very rarely, if ever, there's actually a solution to the problem because people are looking for the problem in the wrong place. They think there's a software or a router or your network switch problem when the actual problem is in fact in the shield itself. So this is a hardware problem, chances are, most likely, if you have a Chinese version, and there is a way to fix it. Now, to be honest, if you did end up buying the Chinese version, just like I did, I honestly don't blame you because it's very tempting when you look at the prices, when it says, you know, you got $7, and these are Canadian rupees, so technically this is maybe about $5 US, whereas the official parts, we got Adafruit for $45, $25 US for official Arduino store, which is actually not bad considering that you also have all of these various pinouts. So this, if you're going official, the official Arduino store probably gives it the best value. And then the same exact part off of DigiKey is $33.90 something. So yeah. And if you're still here, I'm pretty sure you actually want to see the fix. So let's go ahead and get this thing fixed up. So the good news is that the fix is very simple, but the bad news is that you're gonna need to do a little bit of soldering. And I know, the thought of having to solder anything to this controller might be a very devastating thought to a lot of the viewers, considering that there are a lot of young viewers who are just getting into this stuff. They kind of want to experiment with it. And the thought of handling a hot pokey stick has not really been a very comforting one. But, well, to be honest, the good news to you is, again, is the fact that the repair here, the fix here, is actually one of the simplest fixes you'll ever have to deal with in your entire life. And if you're actually getting into any sort of Arduino projects, DIY projects, learning how to solder is going to be a necessity in either case. So grab that hot pokey stick and poke that bear with it so that you can just get it over with and realize that it's not anything to be afraid of. Now, there isn't really anything difficult about this fix. The main problem is that 511 resistor array is actually not of correct value. There's a couple of solutions to this. You can either desolder that little 511 resistor array, or you can add a couple of resistors on top of it in order to set it up to be of correct value. Now, it's a solution that works. Some may argue that it might not be the most elegant solution, but the fact that the shield springs right up to life and actually works and does its job, for now, to me, is a satisfactory solution. So all you have to do for this fix is solder in 2 resistors on the backside of the Ethernet shield. The resistors, as you can see, are actually fairly simple to solder in. You don't really have to play around with these surface mount components, don't have to touch them, don't have to solder pins to them, just flip the entire shield and solder in 200 ohm resistors between pin 1 and 2 and pin 3 and 6. Now, this looks like a mess. I've done my due diligence to make sure that these resistors will never move by my generous use of solder to make sure that there's absolutely no mechanical movement and there's no chance that these resistors will ever touch any other pins. It also helps that this shield actually goes on top of the Arduino Uno, so everything seems to be protected, but this is just my advice to you. Make sure that these resistors do not move and do not go anywhere. The pins that you need to solder the two 100 ohm resistors are effectively these 4 pins here. So if you start counting, this is pin 1, pin 2, 100 ohm resistor, and then pin 3, 4, 5, 6, 3 and 6, another 100 ohm resistor. That's it. You do this, your shield will spring right back to life, and you will have a working Ethernet shield at the fraction of the cost of OEM parts. It is kind of sad that in the year of 2019, China still produces a part with incorrect values, but oh well. I mean, this is the kind of risk you take by buying super cheap Chinese knockoffs, and that is unfortunately the risk you gotta work with. It is great that we have people who can read the schematics, they can read the data sheets and actually figure out the wrong values and which values have to be fixed. So kudos to everyone who figured this out, and I hope you guys have a lot of fun building various projects using your web servers. And if you can take a look at the serial monitor, you can actually see that we are getting HTTP requests every single time the browser refreshes the page, like right there. The page displays some analog inputs from the Arduino, and every time it requests the web page, the web server is sending some data. I am super excited to do a whole bunch of projects that involve game development and HTTP servers with this. Like for example, one of my projects is actually putting in a couple of tasers, and this thing will basically tase myself and my friend, who will be playing a game we're both working on, and every time we die in the game, this thing is gonna tase the crap out of us using some of these pads. So, stay tuned for that. That's going to be a fun little project. I'm probably going to make a video on that as well. But anyways, lots of cool stuff you can do with web servers. I hope that this helped you. There is always a slight chance that your problem might actually be a software problem or a switch problem or a router problem. But if you do have this particular hardware issue, I hope this helped, and I hope to see you guys in some of my future video projects. See you guys in the next one.